Hi there, my name is Kendrick, and today I get to have Freya. So Freya, welcome.
Hi, Kendrick. Hey, everyone.
So Freya, can you please tell us your full type?
So I am a ESFP jumper and SET, FM, visual, plays, consume, sleep, blast.
Gotcha. And your social type?
Number one.
Number one, sweet. Okay, cool. So what did you think and how did you feel when you got your typing results back?
I literally got typed like 3 or 4 days ago. I just couldn't believe it. I typed myself. I was in MTI and in OPS for like a really long time. Like combined maybe like 3 or 4 years, maybe 3 years. Feminine sensory, I'm not too sure there, but like I always type myself as INFP. My kind of consume play. I was right. I type myself as visuals. I was right, but I just didn't see myself as observer. I didn't see myself as SE as well. So just like kind of still processing that. But like when I received the audio, it does sounds like IMD, even though I just kind of see myself as like I just always see myself as like this like wanting to have like kind of prioritize identity, prioritize I want to be kind of special in a group, kind of cringe, kind of like yeah, I just want to be some kind of different, and I feel like I'm very selfish in that way. So like, and also like, I always feel watching like NLP videos on OPS, it's like I can relate a lot. Like, I don't know, just like I need to be like I'm responsible for identity or something. And I was that's why I always tell myself NLP. So like typing myself as observer, just same thing. I'm still processing it. So yeah.
Okay, well, no worries. I think based on the stuff that you're saying, it sounds like it's because of your social type. Like you're number one, and number one has like a lot of like ego needs and a lot of that need to show off and be seen. And the fact that you are kind of calling yourself a little bit cringe, it's like double deciding almost. You're like, oh yeah, yeah, I kind of
Uh,
like you're aware of like you how you come across to the tribe and also how um and also your own perspective as well. So you can see both lenses. I think that's where it's coming from. And
right.
a lot of people, a lot of tribe above self people are very selfish, so it's okay, like I think it's because you have fi second, so it's still very high up even though you're tribe above self, and it's like double activated also because of your consume and your sleep being activated. So I think there's a lot of parts in you for sure that is contributing to the stuff that you just said.
That's very interesting though. I didn't know that like if you are a jumper, the hierarchy still counts.
You mean the social type hierarchy?
No, like the SC, FI, and then TE, and then NI. Like this hierarchy still counts. Like you second with FI. Does it mean like you're still very good at FI?
Yeah, so Dave addressed it in one of his videos in the OPS classes where he said that the stack still matters, where even
Oh,
if you're a jumper type, your second function still has the highest potential of being stronger than your third. But you have to put the reps into it. So obviously you have to practice it. And in your case, because you have a double activated FI and you're also a social type number one, and being number one is correlated with your sleep animal. So you have a lot of reps that's being put in there. And sure, yeah, you are tribe above self in a sense that you still like to help people. But what I noticed with the number ones is they use the tribe to help themselves. It's like they're pretending to help the tribe, or not pretending, but obviously you still want to help people and stuff, but like not to the point where they become better than you. That's like some of the jumper uh
uh,
ENFPs
mm.
that I've interviewed who was the number one. She said she gets really upset if someone starts to beat her in the area that she's competing in. If it's other area, no problem. She's happy to help them. But if it's the same area for her, it's like fitness. So if they start beating her in fitness, like no, she gets like upset. But if it's like other areas like business, whatever, it's like I don't care about that stuff. Yeah, I can help you. I can give you advice, no problem. But if it's the same arena, then it's kind of bad. So do you feel like you resonate with that, where like if they're competing with you in the same place, you get like really like insecure and upset. But if it's like it's something different, you're like, oh yeah, happy to help, don't care, like.
Yeah, oh my God, I relate so much to that. And it's I hate that I relate to that so much. Yeah, like I feel like okay, so for example, my partner and I got together, we're being already together for a year. And I was always this kind of RC person, like kind of chaotic energy, and like I'm very good at creating new concepts, ideas. And then he comes in like, oh, I can do the same thing. I feel like my identity has been stolen. So I have to process that quite a lot. But I do appreciate like he's like this kind of skills, and like I love that. I love that challenge as well. It just makes me like, oh, I want to be like, I want to find a kind of identity that like in some area I'm significant or different or special. So maybe he's more like less direct. He's more, I don't know, like not good at speaking up. So I want to develop. I want to be better at that in comparison. So like then in this relationship, we're kind of being really compatible in that way, because I am now a unique individual. He's a unique individual. So we're kind of different and blah blah blah.
I'm always been curious about that. What's that? You're number one, right? So, um, what's that like? When you're, dating and stuff. Like, do you compete with your partner, or do you see it as like as a partnership, or like you're trying to help each other grow and be better, or is it like a little bit of both?
It's an interesting question. I also like a kind of challenge. Like I feel like I have a high standard for partners. Um, and also I do not really want me to be better than them at everything. I want to see that my partner is like very capable, of course. But I still do want like a variety of like areas of expertise.
Right.
Like for example, he's good at business, I'm good at art, things like that. Like, or he's good at art, I'm good at like admin. I'm not good at admin a lot, not the best at it, but yeah, like he will freak out about paperwork. I was like, this is why, like it's just like you're just filling the form, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you have like an ENFP partner or something? Because the paperwork thing is like
I don't
ENFPs and
know.
ENTPs, right? So
I have no idea. I try to figure out what's his type, but I mean, it seems like he's like some kind of IJ. Like
okay,
he seems like very like, oh, I want to organize everything.
okay,
But also it's like oh, he kind of like get really frustrated with like, oh, just so many traffic, so many tasks to do,
right.
like I can't think more than one thing at a time or something. I'm not too sure if that's it or I.
Oh,
um
yeah, I mean, it sounds like he could be IJ, or it sounds like he could be a social type number three, because it sounds like he um complains a lot based on your description, and like the number threes is the complaint machine, right? That's kind of like their description. But yeah, but and then it sounds like based on your description, he's also high flex because he said that I can also do that you can do, And so it's like, but I don't know. That's just like the stuff that you're describing. I don't know. I have never met the guy, so I don't know.
yeah, well, he never explicitly say I can also do that, but he's also very like competitive.
Yeah.
Like he said, like I'm aggressively competitive, especially in sports.
Okay.
Like Like he's not a very sporty person, but he's somehow just really good at table tennis or tennis. He doesn't even do that often. It's like just smashing everyone on the tennis court. I just don't know
Oh,
why.
I mean, sometimes some people are talented at certain things, so
Yeah.
it could be that case. All right. Well, you know what? Maybe we can go back to this again later on. I was just thinking, I'm like, as a number one, maybe you want to be up like a power couple, kind of like how they describe it in Hollywood, But like, is that something that you kind of fantasize about, like having like a power couple?
Yeah. Yeah, like I've been processing my partner as well. Like I want our partnership to kind of lead to kind of a objective, kind of a goal. Like I want to grow. I want to maybe create something.
Okay.
Um, like I want us to be on the same boat to have something created together. Um, maybe like it could be a business, it could be something that's not like maybe just a creative studio together. Um, yeah, like I guess in that sense, it's like I help him, he helped me. We're doing something together. We achieve something together.
Okay. Well, let's go loop back to that and let's talk about your animals first. And then once we get more info about yourself, then we can loop back to those topics. Um, your first animal, it's ST play, SETE. You have feminine SE, masculine TE. So you're supposed to be aggressive with the tribe. Although you have last, so that's kind of interesting also because your most aggressive animal is actually your last. So we'll talk about that later. I think that could be an interesting one to talk about. Um, so your lead play, how do you see yourself being lead play and wanting to engage with people? And because your play is ST, it's also a lot of reporter talk. So you like to give the facts and also you like to collaborate with people in a sense where like you're doing something physical and you're getting it done together. Can you talk about that collaboration and liking to do that?
Yeah, it makes so much sense that like my dream has this exclusive. It has this theme where it's like I'm in a kind of group of people and we have a common objective. Say like we need to get to this destination and we need to like overcome some like physical obstacles and to get there and like find out some mysteries and I just have this kind of theme of dream over and over again. um and then I guess it's like it's a dream. I don't actually do that very often in real life because I don't think there's a lot of opportunity like that. But recently I joined a photography group where everyone just take their cameras and like kind of the common objective is take photos around, and I really enjoyed it. And also I guess I haven't tried team sport, but I think I really love that. But it's a shame that I feel like growing up as an only child and like I feel like not being very sociable, I guess hasn't really enabled me to kind of explore this area. But it feels like it's a need I need to satisfy, and I always want that. Um, yeah.
That's really interesting how you are the only child. I am now wondering what it's like to have like a sibling that's like a number one. I can't imagine what that's like, but I guess you never got a chance to also see the interaction. Um, maybe maybe with your cousins or something. But anyway, so let's talk about your next animal, your double
Mhm.
activated animal actually. It's consume. You have double activated, double feminine SF consume. Okay. Um,
Oh,
yeah, go ahead.
sorry.
Double
As
activated. Yeah, double activated, double feminine, SF consume. That's your second animal.
okay.
Um,
Mm.
so consume and SF has a lot of different factors to it. So the first factor I want to discuss is the external self-image. So sleep and consume are used for self-awareness, and sleep is internal self-awareness, where else consume is external self-awareness. So how you are perceived by the tribe per se, and being able to see yourself when you are interacting with a tribe, and being able to see how you come across. So that is consume, right? And yours is double activated. So you're always looking at yourself externally from the outside when you're talking with other people. So in a way, it's kind of funny because if you have a lot of self-awareness, then you get even more self-conscious because you're aware how you come across at all times. Um, yours is also double feminine, so I guess the image that you're trying to portray to people is that of like a really feminine person. Can you share a little bit about how you project your image to the outside world and how you perceive yourself when you're engaging with the tribe?
Wait, I'm actually mind blown. Everything you said is just hate the bat. Just okay. So it's just to ray trace. I can't really. That's a lot of things that you said. A lot of things that I can relate to. But you said like um the the kind of identity I'm trying to put it outside is very feminine. I could definitely relate to that. I guess it's more like how I dress and or just but the thing is like is there's an interesting thing with my partner, I guess. He's probably MF for FF, so I haven't been like I'm trying to portray myself as kind of like kind of more balanced like FM, not like extremely feminine. I don't really like to be like extremely feminine as well. Like I do like um to have a little bit of like chaotic physical energy or something. I don't like to be like just sitting there being feminine, not doing anything mothership, if that makes sense. But and also like with like I think I am like trying to figure out what other people think of me. Like I'm trying to figure out like what is external perception of myself. And I really hate it though. Like it just messed me up a lot of times. Like I get really depressed. Like um it's like I messed up in a meeting or like I said some dumb shit or like I wasn't confident enough. I'm like shit. They're going to think that I'm not confident. I'm not good as a worker here. Everyone hates me, and I don't know, just it goes on kind of a spiral for me, and I don't like that. I feel like I need to have I'm kind of tone down on that definitely, and it makes sense. It's double activated or something.
I think all the stuff that you said, it's because of your functions actually. So the first is, when you said, "Oh, everyone's gonna hate me," I think that's because you have masculine TE, so you perceive the tribe as a threat, so they're threatening. And then you have feminine FI, so you get insecure very easily because you have you have very feminine identity, so it's like very movable. So I think those factors definitely play a part in the stuff that you said. So I think it's more like your function and like how one is masculine, one is feminine, on how you're feeling when it comes to those stuff. Also, your FM, right? So I remember Shan was talking about before because Shan is also FM, right? So she said, like the FMs, they'll dress very girly, but they'll have like some like armor part of their like clothing and stuff, kind of like they'll wear like boots
Mhm.
or something, or something that shows like strength. So it's not like completely like feminine, but it is feminine, but it's like kind of with some strength attached to it. So it's kind of like that. Um and Yeah, and they were even showing some videos of like long time ago. They showed a video of like different dances by different like sexual modalities, and they showed like Taylor Swift, who's FM, and when she dances, she'll do like a girly dance, and then like she'll push people away. So there's like it starts with like the feminine and then masculine, right? So it's like your sexual modality does change the way you dance, which is kind of interesting also. So um
Sorry.
and then also when you're talking about the chaotic energy that you want to bring in, I think that's not because you are a number one or because of your double activated double feminine SF consume, I think it's because you're an EP and you're gonna be chaotic. So that's just part of you,
Uh,
your archetype, you know. All EPs wants to bring chaos or rebellious energy to the room. That's kind of like our job because I'm also an EP like you. So, you know, it's part of us to add that chaos. And it's either appreciated or it's not, depending on the context. Like, there's a time and place for it, like everything else, obviously. Um, so there you go. But anyways, going back to your double feminine SF consume. Um, when I've interviewed other people with the same kind of consume as you, um, they've said things like they'll consume something and then they'll forget what they consume because it's double feminine. And then when they consume it again, it almost feels like it's like the first time they consumed it. Do you feel like you relate to that sentiment, or is it different for you?
yeah, I mean, like with OPS, it's like I can watch an episode again and again and just still feel like I need to watch it again just to check what's the information there. Yeah, like I mean, I feel like I've only tried to type myself, and then of course other people, but I just always feel like I just not sure. I'm not too sure. I need to check the definition, and just like I just can't seem to like oh, this like for typing you need concrete binary coin definition. Just feels like I just can't grasp that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard for you because you have feminine sensory, so you forget everything that you've gathered or you've consumed, right? So it's gonna be so annoying.
Yeah.
I think you have to write it
It's
down. If
so
you don't write
annoying.
it down, you lose it, right? So, um, yeah. And you're also visual, so I think you need to see it all the time. You know, um, it's just like the way you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about your sleep. Your sleep is NF. It's actually one of the stronger sleep animals in my opinion. Like that NF sleep is really powerful if channeled correctly. Um, I think a lot of ESFPs, I think that they think they're crazy when they start channeling that NF world because it sounds kind of like no one's gonna believe me that I'm seeing this, you know. And I'm not surprised you type yourself as an INFP because INFPs are NF, right? But you are NF inside because your inner world is NF. So the fact that you saw
Uh,
NF, so you type yourself as an INFP because you're like, yes, INFPs, they're NF, right? But you are NF because that is your inner world. So of course everyone says, oh, I'm this type because I feel that way. I'm like, that's your inner world you're talking about, you know? So um, like I met some guy before who typed himself as a ENFP jumper, you know, like me, NET. And I'm like, I think I'm like, oh, you're an ESTP actually. You think you're an ENFP because your inner world is NT. And then so it's like you think you're like an NETE ENFP because of that, but actually it's because of your inner world. So people look at their inner world and they think it's like that's their type, but exactly that's your inner world. Of course you feel that way because that's your inner world. So for you, you're NF inside. So it makes sense you think you're an INFP, right? You're also an introverted ESFP, right? So of course you'll think you're an INFP. So like everything makes sense in that context. But I do want to ask you for your um NF demon. It's third, so it's activated, so you can use it. Um, I want to go over the different parts of that NF sleep of yours. So the first part I want to ask you is the NIFI reoccurring patterns of emotion that you experience in your life. So what would you say is the emotion that as a pattern keeps reoccurring in your life? Like it keeps
mm.
coming back. Like this emotion is something that you keep feeling, you know?
I guess the first thought I have on that is probably insecurity, like feeling insecure, feeling uh, that I think mainly manifests in my relationship, like feeling like maybe this is not gonna work because I'm weird, like I'm not on paper the most compatible type as this person, therefore maybe we're not gonna be lasting, or like um he's this way, I'm this way, um uh, he likes this kind of type of people in the past, so therefore maybe this person might not really like me like if he's being honest. I'm not probably not the most attractive person is for him. But yeah, but I on that like I know that like I have this demon and I thing. I watched a lot of. I mean, I've just watched a few ESFP videos with their NI demons. And a lot of it I see is like this kind of fear or like fear of unknown of like kind of really spooky ghost stories like that. I don't get it because I just don't have that. I'm not really scared of like things, ghosts. On that I just don't can't relate. But for me it's mainly like relationship, afraid of dying. I guess everyone do that though. I'm afraid of airplanes because every time I'm on an airplane, I'm just like this is gonna crash at any time now. Yeah.
That's funny. Um, I think what's making you have those thoughts is your masculine NI because it's masculine, right? So you are so sure that that's what's gonna happen. And number two, it's demon, so it's gonna be something bad that's going to happen, right? Like you're sure this is gonna happen and it's gonna be bad, because the demon, like the fact that it's a demon, right? Demon NI. Um,
Yeah.
I think masculine NI is the craziest function of all the functions because it makes you have crazy thoughts and you're so sure it's gonna happen. But then oftentimes it doesn't always happen. Or sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It's kind of like 50-50, I guess you could say. Um
Yeah. But well, on that though, I just want to add like okay, so I feel like it's not that crazy. I know like this is like probably sounds crazy.
yeah,
Okay, a plane crashing is literally can happen.
yeah,
Of course, there's the probability of very low,
yeah,
but it's like it's not like plane all of a sudden turns into a banana boat and like or like a monster.
yeah.
Um, am I making sense? Like I'm saying like I'm just processing like what is like crazy NI story? Because I feel like my NI is it makes sense.
No, I mean it's crazy in a sense that you're freaking yourself out over nothing. It's like the
Okay.
like the plane's not likely to crash because statistically you're more likely to die in a car crash than a plane crash, right? Like and then
Yeah.
you're probably in a car more, but then you don't think about it when you're in a car. But somehow when
Yeah.
you're in a plane, you're flying, you're like, oh my God, how's this giant metal flying? Like
Yeah.
so it's like it's more freaky, right? And
Yes.
also, if you die
Yeah.
from a plane crash, it sounds more like it's a more horrific death than like a car crash. Although that's probably not true because like a lot of people get really messed up in a car crash, right? So maybe with an airplane it's instant, right? So it's probably good, you know. So
Yes. Okay.
anyways, it's I just see like when I talk to like INTJs or like other people with like masculine NI, and I'm like, oh my God, what's all this crazy talk with the masculine NI? Sometimes I feel like it's crazy, but anyways, um, because like from me, I have NE, right? I'm like, yeah, that's one possibility that can happen. But because I have NE, I'm like, no, there's multiple different scenarios that can happen. There's not just one, okay? And to be so sure that this one thing's gonna happen is a little bit crazy. But you do have double activated SE, so you can kind of balance yourself out. You can talk yourself out of it. Because
Yeah.
I interviewed some people, with masculine NI like you, but double activated SE, and they're like, no, I can backward rationalize. Actually, you're not the first person that you're scared of the plane too with masculine NI. I've interviewed someone that said the same thing. So it seems to be like like a pattern. But anyways, I appreciate you sharing about your recurring emotion that you struggle with, which is insecurity. That's really brave of you to share that. So I appreciate that. Um, so in that case, it's just so interesting in your type because you're number one, but you're also like tribe above self. So you have demon FI. So you can have like insecurity with your FI, plus it's feminine. So you have like double the insecurity because it's feminine and your tribe above self. You know what I mean? Um, so but how do you think it's how do you think you're the one that's causing that insecurity to happen for yourself? Because ultimately we are responsible for our own emotions, and what's causing those emotions is partly because of us. Like we cause those emotions to happen. If it keeps happening, like if you look at your recurring emotion of insecurity, the only one that's the common denominator in your story is yourself. So you are the one that's a bit the whole time. So you are doing something that is making you yourself feel that way, like the insecurity. Do you have an idea what are the causes of that feeling? Like how like how the thought starts and all the stuff that you're thinking about? Because like I know with like the NIFI, I've interviewed some people recently with NIFI and they said that um part of NIFI is beliefs and part of NIFI is having beliefs that's not true, and you have to pull out those beliefs that's not true about yourself, because otherwise it's gonna mess you up. You know what I mean? So do you have any beliefs about yourself that is causing those feelings? Or what's your what do you think about that?
Yeah. Um, I think that damn, I feel like that's a really big thing I need to process. Um, I definitely I need I think a lot of this when it happens, I get so consumed in the moment of feeling bad. I forget about like this has happened before. And like it's always me like talking shit about myself. Um, like me comparing with other people when it's unnecessary. Um, um, I believe that like I I can't. I'm not good socially. I'm not good at talking. I don't know. I'm not charismatic enough. Or like just like I have like names, like labels that I put on myself. That make me feel shit. And then like and then it will feel better. After like, kind of talk to my friend about it and they say, oh, you're not this. I'm like, okay, now I feel better about this. And then a few days later, got into this self-talk again. I'm bad, I'm not enough. And then just a cycle of things. And I guess it's maybe the problem is like I don't know how to kill it completely. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like I definitely need more time to kind of process that.
Oh, I just feel like that feeling, mm, I'm also tribe above self like you are, right? So I'm an EP like you. I'm also tribe above self. So that feeling of not being enough is always going to be there. So I feel like it's not going to disappear. So I feel like when you say you need to kill it, it's almost like killing a part of yourself. Um,
Mm,
I feel like the real answer is really like self-acceptance. So when it's happening, it's like being kind to yourself. Because I think for you, you're giving yourself a lot of self-hatred when you're saying all that stuff about yourself, when you're having that insecurity moment, you know. But instead, it should be more like, hey, you're having an insecurity moment. It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's normal. It happens to you all the time. This is just the moment that it's happening again, and just be chill, just let it pass, and it's not real. It's just like an ocean wave. And yeah, and it's okay to be insecure. And maybe sometimes, I don't know if you've read any Brene Brown books. Have you read any Brene Brown? Okay.
no.
do
What's
you know
what's
do you
that?
know who she is?
No. Yeah, but I would love to know.
Well, anyways, they type her in a class before, so she's typed as an ISTJ, and she's really popular for um doing research on shame and vulnerability in the US. She's from Texas, and in like she's one of my favorite authors out there, and her TED Talk's really good also. But so I recommend like reading her materials and also listening to her audiobook. She's also super funny. She says a lot of funny stuff.
What's her name again?
Brene Brown, like
Okay.
Brene,
Yeah.
and then Brown. So like one of the things that she says is like um the shame gremlin, like when it appears, it's only alive because you're trying to hide it in the dark. but if you put a flashlight onto the shame gremlin, the gremlin cannot live and they die. So if you're feeling insecure, it just means like you need to shine the light to the insecurity and just like maybe verbalize it, tell your friend that you're feeling that way, or just openly expose it in a world where you feel like, oh, it's gonna be worse for you because you're gonna be seen. Yeah, so it's like it's kind of interesting when you actually like shine the light. It's like, oh, now it's not so bad, right? You know. But if you don't put the light, it gets bigger and bigger, right? So it's like kind of that kind of deal, right? Um,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Let's talk about the other part of the NF sleep now. The other part
Mhm.
of NF sleep is having a code or mantra that you adhere to. So, you probably seen Jocko Willink. He's a popular ESFP jumper. Maybe not. So I can see from your face, no. But so David Shan likes to use not Jocko Willink, sorry, as a good example of an ESFP that a lot of EPs need to follow because his code is discipline equals freedom. And as an EP, deep down inside, we all want freedom. We don't want anyone controlling us. We want the freedom. But the only way to have freedom is to have discipline because if you have discipline, then you have the freedom to do whatever you want, right? So basically, if you control yourself, no one can control you. The only reason why people are controlling you is because you're out of control. But if you're not out, if you're controlling yourself and you're not out of control, no one's gonna control you. It's like that kind of like deal, right? Um,
Yeah.
but he's just one example of having a code, right? Like other people of your quadra, whether that be ESFP, INTJ, ENTJ, or ISFP, they have their own version of the code, right? Um, you know, like David Goggins, have you heard of him? The other popular. Okay,
I'm
no,
so sorry. All
no,
these people.
it's okay. It's okay. I mean, he's another popular ESFP. I mean, you're in Australia, so it's fine. He's in the US. So he's popular for his saying to have a callous mind. So callous mind means like, okay, you put yourself in so much like difficult situation that your mind becomes really tough, like a callus in your skin, right? So, um, so everything that is painful is only painful because you haven't practiced enough being in a painful situation. So it's like that's like the code he listens to, right? Um, or like Kamala Harris. Do you know her? Have you heard of her?
Just, just
It's okay. It's okay. She's the vice president of the United States. So, um, um, she's an ENTJ, but like her saying is, be joyful warriors, right? Because she knows that TE, the extrovert thinking, is very harsh when you use it on people. So she said, okay, we should fight the good fight, but be happy when we do it. So it's not so aggressive. You know what I mean? So, do you have any code that you personally have? It could be a quote, it could be a saying that you like look back. It's like I really like this saying and I want to follow this saying because I think I really believe this saying. And you have feminine sensory, I understand. So if you can't think of anything, don't worry. But I'm just
yeah, yeah. I was like, you're just like coming up with this so many names and like sentences, the sayings. I can't really think of anything. But I think for me, you keep something like I need to research for myself. Like I can't trust. I mean, like it feels like there's information out there. Maybe it's about like knowledge is power. Maybe it's about if you work your information, if you go if you go and find out things for yourself, then you can have a more have a then you can have the freedom of deciding what was best for you or something. Um, and I say that because I feel like I feel like there's a lot of information that's being kind of hidden from how the world is set up, and like from kind of finding this information has really helped me to kind of help my health and yeah, mainly my health, but like I guess it just made me feel like there's this uh, lots of word there. Yeah.
don't worry about it. I know you have feminine sensory, so don't worry. It's fine. It's fine. But I do like yours saying knowledge is power. I think it's the right code for you for sure. especially because you're energy dominant, so you're not info dominant. So I think that's like a really good one, like for growth for you. I think it's a little bit opposite of how you perceive it though, because I think for you, you said you need to research, but I'm like, you're double activate consume already, so I think you're doing too much research.
I know.
So I think it should be the opposite.
Yeah, I also can,
Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I know it's supposed to be like, I need to kind of really, I need to narrow down. Like, I know that like in my work, I have this tendency to like do research and research and research, and like it's 2 days before I do that, I'm like, I don't have enough. I don't know what's the best. Um, yeah, I think that's very true. Like I need to tone down. Um, I definitely can see like discipline is freedom, but I just feel like yeah, maybe I'm not aware enough. Like I thought I'm just like INFP for the longest time. So like I feel like also like I feel like I worked on T for longest time. Like I thought I was INFP. I can see T is more is better. Like I wanted to be ENTJ at some point. So I tried so hard to be T, to be efficient, whatever.
Yeah.
That was and I just don't really I didn't kind of focus on being disciplined, I guess. Though I know it is a huge problem of mine.
Well, let's talk about your last animal since we're already in this topic. So you said that you wanted to be an ENTJ, but you have NT blast last. So those ENTJs, they're except unless they're a jumper, the standard ones, same as the INTJs, of course, they have strong NT blast. So you have NT blast last. So your biggest problem is going to be organizing your thoughts and presenting it to the tribe. That's number one. Number two is speaking up and getting started. Those are all going to be like super hard for you. But the weird thing is you have double masculine anti-blast. So when it comes out, it's like super aggressive. Like NT is like problem solving, right? So when it finally comes out for you, I can imagine that you are so confident at providing the solution for the tribe that no other solution is better than your solution, you know?
I know.
Can you share a little bit about that? Because you sound like you have a lot of stories about that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna talk about like the have trouble speaking, like organizing on the tribe first, and then we'll talk about like my double masculine NT. So I work as a kind of lecturer or like a tutor in the uni. So I'm conscious that I'm not good at like just coming up with like words to say to my students. Like just like from like hi, hello, um this is me, introduction to this teacher, and then how are you everyone? Like this is the course. I just find it so hard to like kind of organize so what to say first. So this is the information to say next. So I will literally like on a Google Doc, I will type literally everything I need to say, and I will just like kind of have that on at the side of my table, and I'm like, okay, these are the things I need to say. I'll kind of the worst case scenario, or just literally looking at that, and then like will memorize that, and then just talk. And that's I really hate that. But I do really want to do it well. I guess maybe it's double masculine. I really want to appear articulated, appear very like professional, organized. Then I'll talk about the double masculine and NT, where I think my method, my theory is the best. I'm not. I hope this doesn't like. I know like the topic of plant-based nutrition might be very controversial. I don't want to sound like I know the best, but like I do know the best. No. Well, it's just like I suffered a very long period of like health issues, and I just came across this plant-based nutrition. Um, and I've done a lot of research and peer-reviewed high quality like papers, science, and that like kind of point to this plant-based nutrition has kind of cured my health issues, and that I can see this thing is potentially really helpful for like the majority of the population, and that the fact is it is plant-based nutrition, for example. I know this is probably not this kind of off topic from ops, but I'm just trying to like kind of illustrate like what I'm trying to say, the thing I believe in. This plant-based nutrition can help prevent even reverse and then treat top like kind of 70%, like 7 out of 10 most deadly reason of death across the world. For example, cardiovascular disease, kidney failure, and things like that, like especially cardiovascular disease. Like that's 1 in 3 people, and that's literally like there's a study they've done like 200 people. These 200 people were having they are patients with heart disease. They put them on the plant-based diet, whole food plant-based diet, and 99% of them after 3 years showed signs of reversed heart disease without, so like they literally can say like you're down with statins drugs, and statin drugs are like they're very costly, and it just like no one is talking about it, and no one really care about it. And then when I first found out about it, like I literally I just kind of like made everyone know about it. I was like, please, this is the information. You need to listen to me. And
Right.
I know that came across as very like annoying and very like aggressive. Like people were like, hey, you need to chill. Like you need to like people can't just change like that,
Right.
people can't just, like they don't, you need some cushions, and like people have lived their life certain way. You can't just like stop eating that, stop eating this.
Right.
Yeah, it was yeah, excuse me for my rant there.
It's okay. That's funny. Um, yeah, yeah. You know what? My experience with the plant-based diet is
Yeah.
I felt really sick. I did like 1 month of vegetarian and I felt really sick. And like when I ate meat
Oh,
again, I felt so good and healthy. So I think it depends. I think it works for some people and for some people it doesn't. So it like really depends on you. Because for me personally, I sent my DNA test. I did my 23andMe and I sent it to like some other laboratories. And like when I got my report back, it says I'm a protein type. I have to eat lots of protein, lots of like meat protein and fish. So I'm like, okay, but like not fatty. So it's like, oh, so I think it's like depends on and depends on the person. Some people that's a really good diet, and it definitely works. Some people it's not the best. So it really depends. Like Jordan Peterson. Do you know him?
yeah,
Yeah. So his daughter went on a
carnivore
carnivore.
diet.
Do you know the daughter?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so she's in a carnivore diet, right? She only eats meat. So when she went to the carnivore diet, all her health issues went away. So it's like and then there's like another person that was interviewed in another podcast, and apparently he had like high levels of Neanderthal in his DNA. So when he went on a carnivore diet too, he became much more healthier than eating plant. So, but I know plant-based diet does work for a lot of people. So it really depends on the person. So it's like the stuff that you're saying, I feel like it's true for like certain population, like yourself, for example, but for certain population, especially those with high Neanderthal in their DNA, maybe it's not like the best. So I don't know. That's just my perspective on it. But obviously, I'm not the one with the double masculine NT blast here. So
Yeah, I literally get really worked out just
Yeah,
talking about it.
yeah,
And also feeling insecure, like this is not like I don't want to be super worked out with this. I don't
yep,
want. I know like it's very controversial, and like I know I'm aware that like what you said that exists. I don't know how to respond to that. I don't have the evidence
yeah.
to.
It's I think it's fine. It's just like a discussion point, right? But the fact that you got worked up over it, that tells you you're an observer. Because like
Oh,
of all the things you got worked up over, it was this thing, like this diet. Like of all the things you got like really worked up over, it was this thing. It's a thing. It's like an information. It's not about like, people. Like the people things that bothers you, obviously, obviously with insecurity and stuff. But the fact that you're
yeah.
like addressing it compared to like this one, it's like this one is more like you're like so worked up over it, because like that's how people get type in ops, right? It's like what really triggers you. So the fact you got really
Yeah.
triggered.
What would like a decider like freak out? What does it look like?
Oh, I mean, it's hard to explain, but it's if you watch their videos, they're like really weird when it comes to like talking to people. They'll say things like, "Oh, and this person, like, I'm not allowed to do this," and there's like judgment involved, and it's like you're like, yeah, but that's like normal. Like people are judgmental. There's people who are judgmental, people who are not. It's like for us, it's like, yeah, it's like, yeah, some people are judgmental, some people are not. It's like, depends on the person, right? And then
Yeah.
we're like,
I just
sorry, go ahead.
yeah, it just remind me of like a couple more I guess my partner as well. Like he will start talking about like he will have this big run of that this person did this to me and this person caused so much chaos and I just have this big run of this is not fair, this is not fair.
Yeah.
Or like this other friend, like he just think that everyone is bad and like I lost trust in the humanity and no one is good. And I just want to I don't know, just I guess is that decider thing?
Yeah, well, I mean, the way you're describing your friend sounds like the decider thing, but like your partner, it sounds like he's an IJ and he's getting annoyed like
Uh,
try causing him chaos. It's like a little bit different, right? Because IJs don't
mm,
like chaos, right? So it's like, okay, like, yeah, you're complaining about people, but what are the person doing? So
okay.
so in his case, they're controlling, right? Or not controlling, sorry, they're being chaotic, right? So for you, for example, if you complain about someone, if you really dig deeper, you're like, oh, maybe it's because they're trying to be controlling. They're trying to tell you what to do. They're trying to tell you who you should be. You're like, you know what? F off. I'm gonna be me. Like kind of deal, right? So like you have to look at the context. But if some people start saying stuff like I'll give you an example. Here's a good decider example. So I work in the fitness center, right? I
Mm.
remember I was working in the gym once, and then there's like one white guy went up to me, and then he started doing this to me, right? And I was like, oh, ho, 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 ho. Hell no. Hell no. So I went up to him, right? And I'm like, why are you doing this? And then in my head, I was thinking, you know what? I'm gonna call this guy out. I don't care if I get fired from this job. No one's gonna do this to me. This is rude and condescending. So I told him that. So I went up to him, right? And I'm like, why are you doing this? And he looked at me. He's like, I don't have any problem with your people. I'm like, whoa, whoa. And then that's when I realized, I'm like, this guy's a decider. I'm like, I wasn't gonna call you out. This is not a race thing. I'm calling you out because you're being rude, not because like you're white. So and I'm like, okay, you know what? And in my head, I just realized I'm like, oh, this person's just crazy. Whatever. I'll just ask him what he needs help with. So tells me the machine is broken and it needs to get fixed. So I'm like, okay, I'll tell the back office. So I go to the office to tell them what happened with the machine. I come back, I see him talking to other Asian people, and he's going, I don't have any problem with your people. And I'm like, dude, why are you being so weird? Like that kid doesn't know what you're talking about. Like, why are you telling him you have no problem with these people? He's just working out, he's trying to do his shoulder exercise, you know? Like that's a decider. Now you see that's how
Oh
weird, you see
God.
how weird that is. You know what I mean? Like so that's like a decider weird because I'm like, this is not a race problem. This is you being
Yeah.
rude and you're doing this rude, condescending gesture, this, right? That's like very rude, right? So, um, and I'm calling him out on his behavior, not on like him being racist or whatever. I don't think he
Yeah.
so that's like decider thing because it's like, now you're being weird about people,
Yes, also you remind me of like cancel culture. Like feels like cancel culture is very decidery. Like, oh, you done this and I'm offended and
Yeah,
you canceled and you're not fair and
yeah,
like
yeah.
you just
I think that's maybe like EJs. Like the EJs are
uh,
cancel. Yeah. So I feel
mm,
like the cancel culture is very EJ like. So yes, I think you nailed it on the head. Yeah, the cancel culture. Even you can't even do decider stuff. Like you have to think of a category. It's like, oh, this is what's happening, the cancel culture. You can't say like, oh, this person is
uh,
bad, this person's evil. Like, you don't use those words, right? Like like I have a sister who's a decider, and like
mm,
she'll say things like, this person is a bad person, this person's evil, right? And then I'm like, what? He's like, this guy so I took my sister to do like a martial arts before, and then there was this like one guy who was like winking at her, right? And then he's telling me, he's like, oh, he's sick, he's perverted, he's a bad person. And then I was thinking, because I brought two of my sisters with me, right? And my youngest sister, who's also an ENFP like I am, except she's like consume sleep, I think, and she's like self-evolved tribe. My sister's like, I think he's just one of those people that winks at everyone. And then I'm like, yeah, he winks. I'm like, and I told my sister, I'm like, yeah, he winks at me too. And I'm a guy, so I think he's just one of those people that winks at everyone. You know, there's like people that likes to wink at people, right? And then my sister's like,
mm.
no, he's evil, he's bad, he's a pervert. I'm like, oh my god, like, oh my god, this decider's is so weird. Like,
Yeah,
so it's like,
exactly.
yeah, if you're a double decider, you're like, I mean, maybe for you, you might have a little bit more decider problems, but a little bit more because you're masculine TE. So you see the tribe as like aggressive. But then
Mhm.
again, you're still double decider at the end of the day. So after that, like aggression kind of wears off, you'll be like, oh, okay, I see what's going on. Because especially you're double
Yeah,
activated consumer, right? So you'll do like your research on actually what's happening. You'll do investigation, right? You know what I mean?
yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay, never mind. It's not that. You know what I mean? So, um,
It's interesting. Like, I used to make fun of observers,
of who?
like, observers.
Oh yeah. And then you
Like,
are
oh, observers. I know, observers aren't real. They're just aliens, flat Earth. What the hell? It's,
yeah,
now I want. I'm like, okay,
you're the
shit.
crazy people.
Yeah, I'm the crazy people now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Freya, we'll wrap up the interview shortly. Is there any last minute thing that you want to discuss before we wrap up this interview? Something about yourself that you want people to know about, that we haven't discussed yet?
Yeah. I guess like there's a kind of a question I always wanted to reach out to um like would someone like ever kind of like if you are some type and then like you realize that you are this demon and at some point you kind of starting to work on it, would you kind of be change like if you develop yourself enough, would you change yourself to the point that you're kind of a different person? Like say I'm at a peak and I want to develop my T and then I develop enough. Now I'm like double deciding or like I'm now ESFP, like does that even happen?
No, no, it doesn't happen. Your type is set, but I think when people see that they've changed, it's not like you've changed really. It's because you now have uh the ability to use your other animals. So, um, for example, you're an ESFP, right? But you're very introverted as an ESFP. Because I mean, you're not very introverted, but you're an introverted ESFP because two out of the three of your first three animals is an introvert, right? Consume and sleep, right? Um, but as you get older and as you start like mastering your other skill set, then you start getting access to other stuff. So for example, by default you have play and consume, right? That's your default, right? um and then as you get older and you start building up more life experience, then you start getting access to sleep, right? And then later on, when you get to your 30s and 40s and maybe 50s, then you have access to your blast, right? Now suddenly, blast is correlated with INTJ, and play is correlated with ENTJ, and then your sleep is like an ISFP, while your um consume is an ESFP, right? So you get access to all of those things, and then eventually it becomes hard to type you because you have access to all those stuff. I think the stuff that you're saying is because you have feminine FI, so you feel like you could change personalities. Um,
Mm,
you know, when you have feminine DI, you feel like your identity can change. And it is true, you can change. And I think it's actually a good thing because if you look at Arnold Schwarzenegger, um, he's an FM like you, he's also FM, but he's an ENTJ. So what he said is he can choose his identity. You know, the identity that he wants, he can choose it because if you have feminine um FI, you can choose who you want to be. So for him, he wanted to be like the best bodybuilder and he became that. And then later on, he wanted to be the best action star in Hollywood and he became that. And later on, he wanted to become like a governor in California and he became that, right? So, and he's also a number
yeah.
one like you. So I think he's actually good to follow for you because like you can like obviously he's a guy, so it's a little bit different, right? But like just like to see the mindset, how he can change his identity depending on what he needs to succeed in a given situation. You have that power to change your identity to achieve your goals, and it's okay for you to do it because it's not inauthentic in the sense that you do have feminine FI, so it is normal for people your type to do that. You know?
Okay. I guess I just don't know, like, how can I ever be sure that, this is accurate? Like, if it's hard, really hard to type someone, and you submit 1 hour video typing video, and then I'm not saying I don't trust David Shan, just like it's
Yeah.
just like how there could be something goes wrong, and then like you mistyped, and I don't know, just
I
putting it
think
out there.
I think they're not perfect. They have mistyped people before, but I think when they mistype people, it's not like a big mistype. It's like a minor mistype. So, for me, for example, when they first typed me, I was play consume blast sleep ENFP, and then when they retyped me, through the double blind method, I became play blast. So they switched my two middle animals, and from what I've seen in the community of people getting mistyped, it's the animals that get mistyped. It's not the actual type. So if you're
Uh,
like an ENFP or ESFP or whatever, you're still the same. Or ISTJ, for example, you're still the same. It's just like the animals got switched. And also in your case, they've typed so many people that's like similar type to you, like the ESFP with the blast last. Um, I mean, I think I've only seen them type another person with also who's also a social type number one, but I think if you're looking at it from the perspective of like, oh, they might have typed me wrong because they don't have enough information on me because I only send a 1 hour video, so of course, how can you get to know me, right? It's like, um, I think that when they're typing you, they're not really getting to know you. I mean, they're looking at your communication style and your vibe and
yeah.
they're shoving you in those NI categories, like sleep, consume, play, blast. Like they're shoving you in those
Mhm.
individual categories. So
Yeah.
and also because they're familiar with your type because they talk to so many people that is like ESFP. There's like so many ESFPs like a type. When they see an ESFP, it's easier for them to recognize that, oh, this person is an ESFP. I've heard this person,
Mhm.
I've heard this story before because the story that
Right.
you're saying to me, saying to in your typing video, another ESFP have sent a similar video before with a similar story as you. So it's not like a new story. So in that case, it's kind of like when you go to court and the way they use to determine a case is citation, right? They look back at like what happened in a past court case and they use that to present the case. So I think when it comes to typing, that's kind of like what they're doing. It's like, oh yeah, I've seen this type say this stuff before. So
Okay.
clue, yeah. So, um, yeah, a lot of people say, oh, didn't even get to. How can you get to know me? It's only 1 hour. It's a 1 hour video. And I'm like, oh my god, these people they've typed like thousands of people. They've seen you before. You're not special. I know that's like I know that's like an ego hit, especially if you're number one or number three. You know, It's like, well, what do you mean I'm not special? I am special. I'm like, no, no one's special. You know, that's it's. I mean, you can prove them wrong if you do something special. So your actions will tell people if you're special or not. So,
Yeah.
so
Love
it's not
that.
like my type is special. It's like, no, you're special based on your actions and your results. And if you deliver a unique result, then you are special. But if you don't, you're the same as your other types. Um, so I don't think you should like connect your identity with your type. I think you should connect your identity with yourself. Like you're Freya, and as Freya, I am like, this kind of person.
Yeah.
Not like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm an ESFP, I'm, whatever, like some BS, right? Like don't do that.
I have that problem. Like I was like literally like having this kind of small breakdown with my partner. I was like, I need to know if I'm typed right, because if I need to be labeled right or something. But like he was saying, just a label. It doesn't matter. You were still you. And like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm still processing that, everything you said is right. And, I'm Freya, and then it's not about the names.
Yeah, if you want to be special, then you need to get good at your blast last. Then you're special, because most people don't work on their last animal, right? So if you work on
Yeah.
your last animal, you get really good at it. Now you're special, because now you're gonna be like, what? You're blast last and you can blast? Oh my god, that's like, how rare is that? That's so rare. You're gonna be like top 1%, top 1% of your type if you blast. Then you can use your number one and ego, be like, haha, I'm better than all of you fuckers, because like I can blast and you can't, So I think that's where, if you're gonna be like flexing, I think you should flex on your last animal. You know what I mean?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, cool, Freya. It was nice talking to you and getting to know you better. And I really appreciate your vulnerability, sharing about your insecurities and stuff. That's really cool of you to do that. So, yeah,
Thank you so much, Andrew, for inviting me in. It's always been like I've always been thinking about getting on this channel and talk about shit, and I love talking to you. Yeah, hope everyone enjoyed this episode as well.
All right, we'll wrap up the interview here. So take care, and I'll stop the recording.
See you.